Hello everyone. So now in this session we will talk about group by and co-group operator. So what is group by? So group by basically we use to perform any aggregation or sum on a particular field. Okay. So group operator is used to group the data in the one or more relations. So it collects the data having the same key. So having the same key means if you got the chance to work on any RDBMS, you must have performed the group by query. So write a query like if I write a query like select ID, count star from table group by ID. So it will provide the count on the basis of ID. So suppose if we have 5 ID in the table, so we will have count on ID wise. So we will have count on so we will have 5 records, okay, as an output. So we will have all the counts for that particular ID. Okay. For example, if we have this table, I can create a table here. 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 5, 6, and 6. Suppose we have table and we have count like 23, 41, 12, 52, 47, 4, 14, 45, 56, and we have one more record with the value 25. And if I perform this query, then the output will be for for ID 1 we will have count like 64. Okay. For 2 we will have output like 59. For 3 we will have count like 52. For key 4 the count will be 4 because we have only one record. For key 5 the count will be 14 plus 45, so it will become 59. For key 6 the count will be 81, right? So if I so we will have count on ID wise. So we have 6 key, so we'll have 6 record as an output. If I sum this data, it will be 319, and if I count this data again, it will be 319. So total count will be same, but the in this query we will get the count on key wise. So all the corresponding key will get together, and the value which is associated with them will be summed. Okay. So, so the group operator we can we can use with the one or more relation. Okay. So we will now implement it practically. So you can see my Cloudera machine is running, and I have connected it to my putty session. So here I'll start pig. Okay. So before I start pig, let me check in the input file we have customer input file or not. So the folder we created was pig demo. Okay, we can check in this folder we have file or not. So we have cust small.dat file. So we have a small customer file. So now I can start pig. Okay. So in the first relation, I can load this file into my relation S1. So here you can see load the file path where we have this file in pig demo folder. So pig demo cust -small.dat using pig storage delimited by comma. So we want the file to be stored as a comma delimited in relation S1. As so I have given alias. We have 5 column here. ID which will be integer type, first name which will be character type, last name again character, age integer type, designation character type. Okay, so I'm loading this file. Now I'm just selecting only few record for this demo. So for each S1 generate what? I am selecting ID, F name, L name and age. Okay, so now if I see the output of this relation, we will have 10 records: ID, first name, last name and age. Okay, so now we can see the output. We have ID from 1 to 10. We have corresponding first name, last name and age. Okay, so here if we perform the group by on ID, and you can get the count on the ID wise. Though we have one record, but still we will get the count. So how we can do that? What is the syntax? Group relation name by any field which we have. Okay, so I am using relation, the name I am giving is S3. Okay, group S2 by group S2 by suppose ID, and in S4 what we can see. Okay, let us see the output of this so you can have a clarity how data get stored internally when we perform group by. So we'll have ID at the outside and we'll have all the corresponding columns. Okay, because we are performing group by on the ID basis. So here we can see ID is outside and we have all the records, corresponding records including ID. Okay, as a form of bag in the form of tuple which is associated as a bag. Okay, because we are performing group by on ID and on S2 relation. So in S2 we have ID, first name, last name and age. So all data grouped by on the basis of ID. Okay, so now in S4 if I want to get the count, so what we can do, we can type for each S3 generate what? Group. So in S3 we perform group by, so we want to generate the group column. So group means the ID column, and suppose the count of what? S2 dot age. Okay, so we are getting data from the S3. Okay, because in S3 we perform group by, so we can generate the group column. The column on which we perform the group by is basically we can get it from S3 relation. So here group column means ID, but if you want to get the count, so we can get the count we can get the data from S2 relation. Okay, on which whatever count we want to get the fields, we can get that field from S2 relation, because in S3 we have grouped by data, so it will count that data from S2 relation on the basis of group column which we have performed in S3. So now we can see the output. So we will have ID and the count of age. So here you can see it internally executes MapReduce. Okay, so you can see MapReduce launcher 50% completed. So now we have all unique ID, so that is why the count is 1 for each record. We have 10 record, so for ID 1 we have count 1, for ID 2 we have count 2, and so on. Okay, so that is how we can perform the group by in the pig. Now if we talk about co-group, so co-group can be performed on the more than one relation. So now we need one more file which we can store into the pig. So what we can do, we can open our WinSCP software, so by which we can copy another file into the SDFS. So here I am starting it, and then we can copy it, copy one more file into the SDFS. So here you can see we have a taxation file also on our Windows machine. So you can copy this file here on the root directory. So now we have taxation file is here. Okay, so now I'll copy this file. So first let me quit from the pig and copy this file. Hadoop fs -put tx and okay txns -small dot dat, and I'm copying it into the same folder, pig demo. So now if I go and check the folder, we can see we will have two files. We can go this folder. So now we have two files, first customer and taxation file. Now I can start pig again. So first we can see the content of this file. So how we can see the content? We can use cat command. Okay, so we have these many data in the taxation file. We have ID, we have the transaction ID, then we have date, then we have customer ID. So this customer performed this transaction on this date, the amount is this, and this is the category in gymnastics. Okay, in gymnastic maybe he or she bought rings, Springfields, credit, and this is the card type, how they perform the transaction, credit card or debit card. Okay, so we have all the corresponding information of the customer about the transaction. So now we can start the pig. and in the first relation we can store the customer file. In the second relation we can store the transaction file. Big demo. Here we need to mention the path and the file name. What is the file name? txns-small.dat. txns-small.dat. Using big storage, and again I am storing this file as a comma delimited into the S2 relation, and here I am giving alias. TID is a transaction ID which is integer type. We have date, so we can store this date in array format. Then we have customer ID, which is similar to the ID in the customer data. So it will be integer type. Then we have amount, which will be double type. That's a decimal value. Then we have category, so I can store it in array. Then we have suppose type, that we can store in array. Then we have city and country. Okay, so we can store it in array. Then we have country, it is a string type, so we can store it in array. And finally we have card type. Char array. Okay, so ID, ID, so I'm checking PID integer type, date char array. Okay, we did mistake because CID will be integer type and we mentioned ID. Okay, so now both the relation loaded. Now for S2 data, for S1 data which we have loaded customer file, I am generating only for each S1 generate ID, F name, L name and age. And in S4 I am generating only for each S2. In S2 we have transaction file, so I am generating only TID, CID, amount, transaction ID, customer ID, amount and suppose city. Okay, now we can perform the co-group. So how we can do that? What is syntax? Syntax is co-group relation 1 by field, comma relation 2 by field. So here we can give it to name like S5, co group relation S3. We have customer data in S3 relation, so co group S3 by ID, and S4 in which we have transaction data, S4 by CID. Okay, because ID and customer ID is same. ID in the customer data is same as customer ID in the transaction data. Okay, so now we can see the output dump S5, so we can see the output in on the console. So here it is executing. You can see 50% completed. Now it's completed. Okay. So here now you can see we have ID which is outside. Now we have customer data in the form of as a form of bag. Then we have transaction data. Okay. So we have multiple records for this transaction because the multiple data is associated in the transaction file. So here we can see we have only single record from customer file, but multiple data from the transaction file. So it's co-group. Okay. So group and co-group is same, but group we can apply in one or more relation, whereas co-group we cannot apply on single relation. We need at least two relations. Okay. So this session was about the co-group and group operators in PIG. So we have understood what is the difference, what are these operators, and how we can implement the same in PIG.